Hello there internet dwellers, welcome back to another video. Today I thought we could have a nice chilled one, a nice different kind of vibe, but the last time I did a video like this, a lot of you guys seem to really enjoy it. Although this isn't as long, but still it's in the same kind of ballpark, and I think you guys might actually enjoy this. This is an SFM creepypasta. So the last time we watched something like this, it was its own animation. It was called Blue Emesis. It was fantastic, probably one of the best SFM animations I've ever watched. Good voice acting, the sound design was amazing, the animation was crisp, it was really cool, and I know that there's a lot of talented people on the internet who are also just as good at doing that kind of thing, and I wanted to explore those kind of things. So this was actually sent in on my Discord by a guy called, or girl called Sniper Luigi 9856. So thank you for the Discord submission. If you guys have something you want to send to me, join my Discord, put it in Scarebass submission, and if I react to it, I'll give you a shout out. So I don't know anything about this creepypasta. It's done by Walker's Films, and it's a remake of another one that was done 7 years ago, which was pretty popular actually. If we click on this here, it has 3.5 million views by Superstatic Pro, and they said that you're allowed to make reactions and edits only if you give me a shout out. So yeah, they'll be in the description down below, so be sure to go check out their channel, like, subscribe, or watch the video alongside me in a muted tab just to give them some watch time. And without further ado guys, nice chilled one today. Let's just fucking do this. Okay, here we go. What was this recorded? Hang on. Why is it in 360p? Bro, I've got I've got alright internet, not compared to some
Everyone
of you guys.
has tales about the strange and bizarre.
Okay.
My story is about how my ski mask saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And continues to save my life to this very day.
That's a good ski mask right there.
Late in December, I was traveling north from California to my home state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Nothing fancy, I was just going to visit the family for the holidays.
Yeah.
On my way north, I hit a small snowstorm. Nothing awful, just
I
a lot
love
of
these
snow
animations
falling at once. I wasn't worried about the small increase of snow at first, considering I had snow tires installed before I started my long journey home.
I've never had to worry about that over here.
I did, however, get a little hesitant to drive when the snow started to really come down.
Yeah.
The large amount of
terrifying,
falling snow,
actually,
coupled with the large amount of already littering the ground as I traveled higher into the mountains, caused me to consider finding a place to stay for the night.
Or just pull over, sleep in the... Actually, no.
I figured I could get some sleep while the storm passed over.
Yeah.
That and the fact that I could give my car's heater a break before it would decide to burst into flames, or worse.
Well, that would be something else.
Stop working altogether.
Well, that would be terrible also.
I scanned as much of the landscape as I could, but
I freaking stopped recording on my audition because I was clicking on that window. But I was going to say, it reminds me of that story, that one of the first ever stories I listened to from Mr. Ballin was about this family who were going up this trail, and then they realized it was all snowy and it was dangerous as hell. They decided to reverse out and go down this side trail, but it was like a trail that was out of commission for the season or something like that. So no one was looking for them and they were stuck, and I think their car died, and it was quite a tragic story because they decided to burn their tires to kind of get attention from, like, around, like create a big fire basically just to get attention, which is a clever idea. And eventually the dad's like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and look for help. I don't know what it was. I think it was maybe a day after, or like maybe half a day after he decided to go out, they were found, and he was then found like a couple of 100 meters away dead under a tree, which is
there were no buildings
tragic
in the immediate area. The only other option I had for my predicament was to keep driving and hope there was a town or exit nearby that I could take in order to escape from the storm.
Yeah.
I must have been driving for at least an hour before I saw a sign up ahead indicating how far the closest city was. My heart sank a little when I read 162 miles.
Oh shit.
As it flew by my windshield and vanished into the snowy night.
Why is that? Like, why America's so big, but there's like few and small stuff in between?
The snow was beating against my windshield, and I knew I wasn't going to last 162 minutes, let alone miles.
Damn.
The digital clock on my radio read 1:21 a.m., and I decided that
the
next turnoff I
just
saw,
go 162 miles per hour. Easy.
I would take and hope that I could find a neighborhood that will produce
Just get good at driving.
some results.
It's not that
in my
hard.
current endeavor. My thought process was either freeze to death in my car or stay the night at some random person's house. Weighing the two options in my head, I picked the only thing a sane person would pick and tried to find a house.
Yeah.
Another 30 minutes flew by and still no luck finding a place to pull off. Just when I was starting to lose hope, I saw a turnoff in the distance.
Here we go.
A small shape started to make its way closer into my headlights. And on further inspection, it was revealed to me that there were two wooden poles that possibly belonged to a fence.
Yes.
When I turned onto the road between the two wooden poles, the ground beneath felt rocky and rough.
Oh dear.
Like I
He's
was
driving
traveling
pretty
on
damn
gravel.
fast.
I didn't drive for too long before I started to see a small cabin creep into my field of view.
Uh-oh.
The lights in the cabin were off, but the place seemed to be in fairly good shape. I parked my car under a tall, wild-looking tree that took residence on the cabin's front lawn. Getting out of my car,
Oh my
I
God,
immediately
what the
grabbed my
hell was
extra
that?
jacket and put it on.
You guys see that in the background?
Getting out of my car,
Beep.
I immediately grabbed my extra jacket and put it on. Also, pulling the ski mask I wore around my neck up over my ears to keep heat around my face.
Mm-hmm.
After putting my cap snug on my head, I trudged up to the cabin. As I traveled through the cold, windy night up to what I felt was my salvation, I immediately regretted not getting any gloves for my hands.
Yeah.
Despite
I
the
don't think
irritation
there's.
I had
I'm
with
gonna say I don't think there's any gloves for those hands. Those hands are like a rack of bananas.
my hands, my face and the rest of my body were comfortably warm, so I didn't have much room to complain. I stuffed my frozen hands deep into my pockets and continued my journey across the cabin's lawn. As I made my way to the door, I noticed something a bit odd. There was no indication of life anywhere. There wasn't even a car in the front yard.
I wouldn't even call that a yard.
Taking my right hand out of my pocket, I knocked 3 times,
Imagine knocking with those hands. You'll break the door down.
waiting patiently before saying, "Hello?
Imagine this guy in
Is
a,
anybody
in a
there?
arm wrestle.
I'm sorry to bother you so late at night, but I need a place to stay for a few hours." Nothing answered my plea for help.
Oh,
So I knocked 3 more times on the door, hitting my knuckles harder against the aged wood of the entrance. "Hello?" I said, again a little louder before continuing with, "I'm not here to rob you or anything.
Oh, that's
I
good
just need
then.
a place to stay for the rest of the night.
I'm not here to rob
I
you or
promise
anything.
I will be gone by sunrise."
Imagine that. Imagine the robbers being so polite that they're like knocking. What was that? Okay, never mind.
As I finished my last sentence, I touched the ornate metal door handle, noticing that the door seemed to be unlocked.
Uh-oh.
I said in a loud voice, "I'm coming in now. If there's
Here
anybody
I
in there,
am."
please let me know." I pressed the metal lever down, finding it a bit odd that
Damn.
the door was unlocked, and
The animation's
opened the door
so good.
with little resistance on the other end.
Like the lighting and
Closing it
everything's
behind
really
me
good.
with about the same resistance, despite the fact the door was really old. Looking around the area, I noticed the cabin had 5 rooms: the living room, which was the largest, a small kitchen, an even smaller washroom, and what I assumed were 2 small bedrooms in the back.
Yeah. God, you just hit the jackpot
No
here.
lights were on inside this cozy cabin, making it almost perfectly dark, if my eyes weren't already adjusted to the darkness from outside. I decided the best thing to do would be to search for a light switch, so I took out my phone and turned on the flashlight app to scan the walls. Of course, my scan produced no results, however. And, at the risk of losing precious battery power on my phone, I decided the best option would be to turn off the light and put my phone on airplane mode.
I don't know how you push any buttons
Before
with those
turning
fingers.
off my light, I studied the paintings hanging on the wall that I glossed over in the initial scan.
Yeah.
Each painting that crossed my sight was just typical landscapes of harbors, things like that.
Yeah.
There was a painting that looked like a fox hunt or something similar, but other than that, it was just typical paintings you would see hanging on the walls around an elderly person's home. There was one painting,
So, who does this cabin belong
that
to?
did catch my attention.
Oh god, what is it? It's a goatsy.
The painting was small and consisted of what looked like 2 adults.
A man was
Mother,
spreading his ass
father,
cheeks.
a teenage girl, and a small child.
Uh-oh.
The family captured in that painting were wearing what looked like Victorian-era clothing.
Yeah.
I'm only guessing about the clothes. I mean, they could have been from the 1800s or
What's this guy got? Like, he's got a PlayStation 5 and a VR
early
here.
20th century. The point is that the clothing was very ornate and regal. There's something really disturbing about the image, though. The faces of each member of the family appeared as if they were smoothed over with clay.
Oh dear. Except the
It's kind of hard to describe,
woman.
I know, but the 3 family members looked like they had no facial features.
This is Slender Man's family. We
By
found
no
Slender's
facial
family.
features, I mean, instead of the normal ones that you and I have, the 3 people in the painting had grooves of smooth flesh where normally you would have eyes or a nose,
Yeah.
a mouth. The only person in the painting that didn't possess a blank face was the teenage girl, which appeared to be normal for a teenage girl. In fact, she was actually quite breathtaking.
Oh really?
I pulled myself away from the painting
each
to
their
take a
own.
glance at my phone for the first time. My phone indicated that it was past 2 o'clock in the morning, so I decided to go back to the room and check to see if it was occupied.
Wait, what is that? Did you
To my
see
relief,
that?
Go back to the room and
Oh, that's terrifying.
check to see if it was occupied. To my relief, the room was vacant. Besides a medium-sized bed, ornate dresser, and a nightstand, there wasn't much to go by.
Mate, that's cushy
Walls
living
were
right
blank
there.
apart, more sappy paintings to give it a little more atmosphere, I suppose.
Yeah. And orbs floating around.
Although there was
apparently.
no indication of a heating system, besides a chimney, the rooms were bearable enough that I figured I could just bundle up in my clothes under the covers in order to stay warm. I was only going to
This
be there
man
for a
just-
few hours anyway, so there wasn't much point in starting a fire, plus the people who owned the cabin would be back tonight considering how late it was.
Yeah. This
I
man just
hopped
made
into the
himself at
worn-out
home.
bed, facing the
Like
open door
Goldilocks.
next to the other door, which I assumed was a closet, and pulled my ski mask completely up over my face to make sure my head would stay nice and warm for the rest of my stay. Pulling the fabric of my mask down slightly, I set the alarm on my phone for 4:30 a.m. and put it
4:30
back down on
a.m.?
the nightstand.
What, 2 hours rest?
I covered my face again and bundled up tightly with the sheets, closing my eyes and letting dreamland take me away until I woke up after what only felt like minutes, to the sound of scratching.
Oh
My
dear.
body froze as I heard the
That's a
noise
big-ass
over and over
rat.
again,
Oh
softly
my
coming from
God.
the closed door. I tried to relax, thinking that all the noises that I heard was just probably a rat or some other animal that was spending the night in the closet while the cabin's owners were away.
Ugh.
Quietly, I shifted onto my back, pulling my ski mask down slightly so a little slit appeared, giving me a small window to look out at what was there. I
Damn.
laid on the bed, stiff as a board, with my cap and my mask covering my face in such a way that it acted almost like a visor,
Okay.
giving me a small peek at what was in the darkness. Thankfully, my eyes were still adjusted to the dark, which gave me a small amount of reassurance as I continued looking in the direction of the scratching noise.
This is... Okay.
The scratching
It's,
continued.
it's a freaking
louder and louder for
skinwalker.
what seemed like minutes until, just like that,
It stopped.
it stopped.
Okay.
Silence filled the room again, but it wasn't a safe kind of silence. The deafening silence in the room was foreboding,
Yeah.
ominous,
That's
sort
the
of
worst.
silence.
You know, I hate those.
Vacuum of
I hate those kinds of silences because it's like, I don't know. In my head, I'm very anxious, and I can just, I imagine just hearing like a blood curdling scream out of nowhere, just breaking the silence.
Then the
I
air
don't know.
was the type of silence that happens in a movie just before something jumps out at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just when I began to calm myself down, the doorknob to the closet began to jiggle and turn very slightly.
Oh shit. You got a
My
squat.
heart was racing out of my chest as I saw and heard that knob turn. And every inch of my body wanted to just bolt out of the bed and out of that cabin before whatever was on the other side of that door got out after me.
Uh-oh.
I laid perfectly still on the bed, despite the fact that I had a cocktail of adrenaline, nerves, and instincts
Yeah.
telling me to get the hell out of there.
I'd be shitting. Not gonna lie. The bed would be
My
shat.
eyes widened as the door to the closet opened slightly, and I saw what looked like a dried head attached to an elongated neck
Little raisin
pop
head.
out of the opening,
Little almond head.
accompanied by a skeletal body.
Oh shit.
The thing that was emerging from the closet crawled on all fours out of the doorway and slowly made its way to the bed
Oh
that I
god.
was sleeping in. I had never been more frightened in my whole entire life. as the thing stood up, almost touching the ceiling of the cabin.
Look at that thing.
And looking down in my direction.
Reminds me of the zombies from
the creature
Ocarina
stood
of
there
Time.
studying me as I peeked through the thin slits in my mask. Pure terror swirling around in my mind as I glanced up at the body of the creature. Looking at the creature's skeletal face, I noticed that it had no eyes within its head.
Interesting.
Which led me to believe that it couldn't even see me even though I could see it.
It's staring over him
Just
there.
when the idea of not being able to see me started to give
Imagine
me a
that, waking up, guys, in the middle of the night, you wake up and then you look and there's just a tall figure stood looking over at you. That's a terrifying thought
Comfort.
right there.
The creature began to speak. Strange. The creature whispered softly as it continued to watch me.
Is it going to think
spoke
that it's
again.
one of them because he's got like his ski mask pulled up?
It had no fear of me. It continued to say in a hoarse tone as it began to breathe loudly, continuing to look at me and gripping down on the edge of my bed.
Oh god.
Feeling the creature's bony hand touch
Shrek
the
is
edge of my bed
love.
caused my brain to go into complete panic mode. The only thing that stopped me from jumping up was the thought that maybe the creature believed I was dead or asleep and wouldn't attack.
Yeah.
How can it not fear?
Can it sense fear?
Can it not fear me? The thing said through clenched teeth before loudly gasping and suddenly pulling back, with its mouth open in an expression that almost resembled fear.
Oh, so now he's scared.
It has no face. The thing whispered to itself as it continued to back away. It has no face.
Oh no, you're just dumb as
The
fuck.
creature said again, but this time louder than before and slightly more unnerved. No face.
That's not
The
very
creature
nice.
shouted as it backed off further away from the bed. I heard the thing breathing loudly and quickly before calming down and slowly returning to the side of the bed.
Oh, what's the big deal? So the people who lived
Leaning
there.
over me slowly,
Oh, okay.
the creature continued to look at me before softly beginning to breathe on my face. I could smell its foul breath even through my mask.
Oh god, yeah,
The
imagine.
smell was so powerful that it took all my strength not to gag as a reflex to the awful stench.
Man,
My
imagine
mom.
imagine having breath so bad that you make someone gag when you're talking to them. If that's not a sign, then I don't know. Yeah, that's
I made the
crazy.
choice to keep motionless and did not do or say anything that would compromise whatever illusion I was giving the thing that was currently studying me. The creature breathed on me again.
Headbutt it, man. Look at those fists. Like if this guy just done that and bosh with those hands, his head would disintegrate. His head would go like a watermelon, like a soft watermelon.
As rotten,
Right.
which only strengthened my resolve to stay perfectly motionless.
Yeah.
Strange. The thing whispered at me again, leaning in close to me to the point where I could see and smell its decaying flesh. The creature
Yes.
slowly reached for me.
Oh god. Fingers down the throat. It
Its
reminds me of
hand.
that Vine, that like person wearing the nun mask, and then they get like that big ass finger and it like goes down the, you know what I'm on about.
Moving slowly towards my face.
That's a big hand actually.
With
I
every
think
inch
he's got
that decaying
competition.
hand moved, I couldn't help but feel my situation becoming more and more dire. I thought that this was it for me. The
Uh-oh.
creature would kill me tonight,
Yeah.
or take me away and torture me, then kill me, and no one would know what happened to me. No one
Yeah.
would find my body out there, and
No.
no one would know my story.
This is what happens, guys, when you go in
I
a
could
random
feel
person's
tears
house.
start to well up in my eyes as I thought of everyone I ever loved being yanked away from me in this one very moment.
Mm.
No face. No face. No face. The creature softly chanted as its hands crept ever closer to my face.
That's a
I could
massive
hear the
hand.
anguish in the creature's voice as it continued chanting over and over as it reached for me.
Ew.
As its long, bony hand crept only centimeters away from my face,
Damn.
I braced myself for the worst,
This does lend itself very well to
making the last
animation.
thoughts I would ever have about the people I loved. Just as I thought my life was all over, A sudden loud noise erupted from the room, filling
Oh.
the ear closest to the nightstand with a flood of beeps and causing the creature to scream.
That's
and
just
jump
how I
back.
wake up to it, alarms nowadays,
As the
to
noise
be fair.
continued, the creature threw itself back against the wall, shrieking uncontrollably in terror as it stumbled back towards the closet.
I was more scared of this guy than that guy was scared of
dumbstruck
that.
for a second, before the thought came to me that I had set my alarm at 4:30, which must have been the source of all the noise.
Yeah.
I jumped out of the bed, grabbed my phone, and pointed the lit-up screen at the monster as the alarm continued to ring loudly.
Man.
The loud ringing caused the monster...
Now listen, just freaking do the iPhone alarm. I used to have an iPhone, and that alarm, I don't know who made it, but they definitely worked in MK Ultra, that's for sure.
More in confusion and terror as it retreated, quicker as I approached. Seeing my chance, I activated my phone's flashlight and put it on strobe in order to disorientate the monster further.
No
Okay.
face! No face! No face! No face!
The creature shrieked at me as it withdrew to the safety of the closet. I continued to shine my light on the creature. For the added effect, I started playing loud music as I continued to jab my phone into the monster's direction like...
Just terrible
lion
music.
tamer. The thing threw itself
Close
into
the
the dark
door.
recesses of the closet, and I shoved the door back,
There we
locking
go.
it after I slammed it closed.
Hang on. You're telling me that there was a lock on the door? Well, I guess you wouldn't have known to lock it to begin with, but could have been
Shrieks
prevented.
coming from the monster started to get fainter and fainter, like it was almost retreating deeper into the house.
No
So what-
face! No face!
So this creature took the faces maybe of other people as well? The family that lived there.
I could hear the creature yell out as it got further and further away.
Something to do with the daughter, right?
After hearing the last retreating words of the thing that terrified me the whole night, I bolted from the cabin at breakneck speed, jumping into my car and floored it off the gravel road.
Damn.
I
162
was
miles per
shaking all
hour.
over as I drove. And when I pulled my ski mask further down to expose my skin,
Uh-oh.
I was as white as the snow that littered the ground.
Yeah, I can imagine. Snow White.
I was so frightened by the whole experience. As soon as I pulled into the first town I saw, I parked my car and began to sob uncontrollably for a while.
Unconsolably.
The experience that I had just been through would scar me for life.
Absolutely ugly crying. Just snot everywhere. Red face.
But as I wept in my car, in the parking lot, of the
Wailing.
convenience store, I couldn't help but start to laugh a little in between my fits of crying.
Oh, good God.
I got through my ordeal without so much as a scratch on me. Well, aside from the mental scratches.
Yeah.
I was fine. I was alive, and I didn't have to worry anymore.
Okay, well, this isn't gonna... Well, it obviously does
After
end
I
good.
finished with my whole episode of crying and laughing like an insane person, I entered the store, sniffling and wiping away the rest of my emotions. As I continued into the store, the cashier looked up at me and traced my direction with his eyes before continuing with what he was doing. The store was mostly empty. Aside from an elderly couple, I was the only customer in there.
Just selling bombs and stuff. It's all good.
A rough night? The cashier said with one eyebrow cocked up while he scanned my items. You have no idea, I said, looking out of the window at the sun breaking over the horizon. I noticed you looked a bit upset when you came in. What happened? You
Got
get
none
dumped
of...
or something?
Nothing... Whoa!
He said, looking up at me as the register computed how much I owed him.
Damn. That's not very nice.
Looking at the young man behind the register, he seemed to be a little younger than I was, although that didn't say much because even though I'm 22,
Oh, okay.
I do look younger than my actual age.
Yeah, sure you do. You look fucking very young.
I looked at the cashier's name tag
I feel like maybe it should have been the other way around.
for a second before feeling that I had nothing to lose by telling him about the night I just had.
Then again, no, that wouldn't have
The
made any
small name
sense.
on his
It
ID
wouldn't have made sense.
read, Evan.
Hmm.
And as I finished telling him my frightening tale, something odd happened.
Yeah.
I expected him to burst out laughing or say that I was the best liar he had ever talked to.
Shocked.
Instead of doing
Look at
any
him,
of
man.
that, Evan just stood there. His skin, he gave me the impression that he had just witnessed something get run over by a train or something.
What's the story?
Evan,
In Balamory.
you alright? I said, looking into his eyes while we both just stood there, silently.
You shook him.
What? Oh, yeah, It's just, Evan began to say before his thoughts trailed off due to
Oh,
a
dear.
feeling that we were both being watched.
Uh-oh.
I began to feel eyes burn into the back of my head before turning around to see the old couple
Oh,
I
and
glanced at when I entered the store beforehand. The old couple possessed the same horrified expression that Evan had just a few seconds ago.
What is happening here?
They must have heard the whole story I
What's
told.
going on?
After a few moments of silence, the old couple asked me what I knew about the cabin, to which I couldn't really say. I gave them the best description I could about what I saw.
Wait, what the hell just...
The couple
Whoa!
proceeded to tell me about the cabin, how long it had been there, and
Where's
that it
Evan
was
gone?
haunted by a presence so terrifying that the place was condemned and left to rot away after so many people disappeared
Evan's
there.
dead. What's going on?
They told me that no one who ever stayed in that cabin has ever been seen alive again,
Oh, dear.
if they've ever been seen at all after their visit.
So he did die, maybe.
One of my best friends stayed the night in that cabin, Evan said quietly as he stared off into the distance, but continued his thoughts with, I refused to go into the cabin. I knew something bad would happen if we went.
Mm-hmm.
I tried so hard to convince him that the dare was stupid and to not go in.
Yeah,
but
this
he
guy's wearing a
refused to be
full-on
labeled
ski
as a
mask.
chicken, and continued with the dare. Evan's eyes began to water as he continued with his story. I never saw him again after that night. I kept calling his house, but his parents still couldn't find him. We put up flyers, billboards, but we never had any luck.
Just some
After
kind
a
of
few
like
days, we contacted the police, and I told them about the cabin.
dimension thing. Is the camera always been like it? Oh, you know what? I'm just
Evan
gonna do
began to
it.
choke down his tears as he clenched his fist. They found him in the basement of that cabin,
Oh God.
sprawled out on the floor. His eyes were ripped out of his face.
Jesus.
His nose had been removed, and his lips were sliced clean off.
Well, this person really doesn't like faces.
When they found him, he was naked with an incision in the
Hang
bottom
on a
of his
sec. These guys are inside the cabin though, so why aren't they? Oh, I guess
Ribcage.
if they stay in the cabin, right?
down to his pelvis in the middle of his body. All of his organs were extracted from his body, and to add insult to injury, his genitals were sliced clean off.
Jesus Christ.
But you want to know the worst part of it all? When the police did the autopsy on the body, they found that he was alive during the whole process.
Oh my God. So he wasn't far from the truth when he
Evan
said
winced as he remembered
they might torture me here.
the whole gruesome sight and said, they never found who or what did it. There was no DNA evidence to convict anybody.
Yeah.
They didn't find the tools that made the incisions, and they didn't find anything.
Damn.
Evan
He
clenched
did.
his fist tighter on the table before the old man, listening to our conversation, put his hand on Evan's shoulder to reassure him that it was going to be all right.
Yeah.
As he comforted Evan, he looked at me and said, people have been disappearing from the area for decades,
Damn.
maybe even centuries for all we know, but the bodies always end the same gruesome way.
That's crazy.
I don't care who you are. No one deserves something like that happening to them.
Yeah, that's
They
pretty
should
mad.
just torch that damn place to the ground.
Do it. Why
The old
hasn't
lady
anybody?
joined her husband's side and looked at me with the most foreboding face I had ever seen. If your story is true, you should consider yourself the luckiest man on the face of the earth. In all my
Buy one
years
of them
living,
turrets.
you're the only one to go into that cabin and emerge alive. The woman said, gripping onto her husband's hand tightly as she spoke to me.
Hmm.
After hearing the old woman's words, I
Silent
realized
Hill.
that Evan said the body of his friend was found in the basement, which would explain why the monster's voice got fainter. It would have pulled me into the basement if my phone hadn't gone off.
Ugh.
I quickly paid for my items and left the store, more troubled now than I was when I entered.
Jesus, what did you buy?
Feeling drowsy due to the lack of sleep and constant adrenaline rush caused by the whole terrible ordeal, I decided to go to a hotel and spend my day sleeping and relaxing to get my mind off things.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
That night, I sat on the bed in my hotel room and looked at the two items that saved my life. In one hand, I gripped onto my ski mask, which hid my face from that terrible monster.
Hmm.
In my other hand, I held my cell phone, which scared away the horrible beast that could have killed me.
Lucky
I
man.
decided from that day
Go
on,
away.
I would always wear my ski mask to bed. It
Really?
saved my life. That's the least I can do for it.
Oh, I guess, yeah.
The recent brush with death I just experienced had taught me that life is far too precious to waste.
Just sleeping like a gangster.
So, I decided to ask my best friend Samantha out on a date, and things worked out perfectly.
Oh.
Samantha and I were together for 2 years before I recently asked her for her hand in marriage, which she said yes.
Then I took her to the cabin.
Part of me will never ever forget that awful night. And because of it, not only have I been wearing my ski mask to bed every night since then, I've also made it a priority not to live in any type of house that has a basement.
I've got a basement.
As an added safety measure, I started locking every door before going to bed. It's a pain, but you can never be too careful. Despite these crazy precautions, Samantha has accepted my little quirks and has continued to be supportive as we continue our journey through life together.
That's cute.
I couldn't be happier with the way things turned out in my life, and I'm so lucky to be with Samantha.
Hey, man.
Everything's perfect.
Listen, you miss all the shots you don't take, okay? You gotta take the shots.
There's just one thing that bothers me.
What's
and
that?
I think I might just have to blame my imagination, but sometimes, when I wake up at night, when it's really, really quiet,
you can hear scratching.
Sometimes I'll hear soft scratching noises.
I thought you locked every door.
I think it's just paranoia, but I swear, sometimes I hear something whisper.
No face.
No face.
From inside my closet.
Mate, you need to get a lock on that closet. Come on now. Wait, what? Oh, he's... Ooh. Wait, what? What'd he say? Wait, was none of that real? What the hell? Was any of that real? Oh, well, okay. I mean, let's just pretend that that was just a nightmare that he was having at the end there, but there we go, guys. That was It Has No Face, which was a remake by Walker's Films. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I mean, it was definitely different from what I usually do, but, you know, it's horror content, and you know I enjoy my horror content. I just like animation stuff in general as well. I think it's really good. You can lend horror a lot to animation stuff. But there we go, guys. Be sure to go subscribe to Walker's Films, like the video, all that good stuff. If you guys enjoyed my reaction, why not leave a like, rate, and subscribe. Thank you guys for the support, and I hope I will see you on the next video. Take care, guys.